Oh, wow. This is embarrassing. I did not realize that you guys were there. Totally unprepared. But hey, let's talk tabletop. Let's talk board games. In our first spotlight episode, one of my favorites, touchstone in collectible gaming. Let's talk Dice Masters. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So let's learn how to play Dice Masters. Well, what do you need to get started? Each player has their own team of up to 8 superheroes, their own die bag with character dice, pawn dice, action dice, and let's go ahead and break up the deck and show you how this works. So out of the 8 superhero cards, you'll notice real quick what we're looking at is the numbers. What we're trying to do is create, much like Magic the Gathering, on your team a mana curve, basically energy curve. These are the prices to purchase these character dies with different actions, and you're going to want to out of the gate have some lower costs, so you can, no matter what you roll, you will have the opportunity to buy. The more money and the more energy you accumulate, you can buy more expensive dice, thus creating the mana curve. You will also notice that we have 2 action cards with 2 action identifiers, which I will lay out real quick. I will roll out the dice, and what we're looking at here is a collection of up to 8 basic pawn dice, 20 individual character dice that we will divide among the character cards themselves. Everything is on this playmat, which WizKids created. I will kind of spare you guys the setup and just do a really quick snap to show you the game setup. But if you do not have the 15, 16 bucks to purchase one of these mouse pads, you can, right from WizKids.com, not even purchase, for free, print out these guidelines that you would place in the center. You plate your characters on the side. It works just as well. Also in the game, depending on which version you get, it does have another version of the playmat inside the box. Everything you need to get started. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and snap to a setup game. And now we are set up and ready to play Dice Masters. As you can tell, we do have our 8 characters: Psylocke, Angel, Falcon, Namor, Professor X, Cerebro, Action Die, Scarlet Witch, and Wolverine. This is our team. Our team consists of 20 individual character dice. So this is the equivalent of having 4 Pikachus. We have 4 copies of Psylocke available for purchase. We have 3 copies of Angel, 20 of those. We have 2 action cards: Hulk Out for 2, Nasty Plot for 4. These are, if you roll, you can either get energy or you can get that action, depending if you choose to purchase that dice. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We have our 8 generic sidekick dice, which we will zoom on real quick. On these guys, you have 2 options that will take place. You will either roll a character face, which is a 0 field cost, 1 attack, 1 defense, or 4 energy symbols. You can roll a energy bolt, a shield, a fist, a mask, and a random, which will, if you roll that face, will equate for any of those 4 of your choice. What you get, depending on what you roll, you will use those symbols to purchase these character die. The character die, let's break down this card real quick. This is just a quick character breakdown. Namor, he is a 4 cost. We would need to roll 4 energy symbols. 1 symbol would have to be a shield. If you look down here, these are the 6 faces of the die. Depending if you purchase this character die and you roll this symbol, you get 1 money to spend, 2 money to spend, 2 money to spend. This is his level 1, level 2, and level 3, effectively. At level 1, he is a 3 attack, 3 defense. Level 2 is 4 attack, 4 defense. Level 3, he is a 5 attack, 5 defense. That's the fielding cost, depending on how you roll Namor. That's the quick breakdown. What you do for setup is you set up as accordingly. You take your generic dice, you put them in your dice bag, 8 total. I am going first. What we're trying to do is summon our superheroes to deal damage to our opponent. I have 20 health. My opponent has 20 health, and creatures can die. I could take damage, he can take damage, and effectively the first person to 0, much like any TCG, first to 0 loses. You can gain life. Turn 1, what do we do? Let's grab the bag. We take 4 generic sidekick die. 1, 2, 3, 4. You do not want to look, that is randomized. You would roll, so we'll go ahead and zoom in real quick. Take the die, and we're going to roll them. There's 2 things that can happen. You can get a character symbol, which is the face side. This is a 0 field cost. 1 attack, 1 defense, and I have 3. This is actually a pretty good roll, so I would keep this. If I would like to, I could choose any number of these and re-roll them again, but I'm going to keep it as is. My 0 field cost pawn, I will field for no cost, and now that basically means it is a creature. If you notice on Namor, for example, he is a, kind of hard to see, but let's see, let's zoom in. He is a 1 field cost and 4 attack, 4 defense. So in order to get Namor into the field, I would have to spend 1, and now I have a 4 attack, 4 defense. Boom, boom. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. This is our first roll. We do have a pawn, and I do have 3 basically money to spend, and 2 of those being wild. You do, like any other TCG, you want to spend all your mana, all your energy. So what I will do is I will buy a angel die for 3. You take the die, you put it on this character. Now, before my turn ends, I could choose to push forward and attack. If this attack is successful and unblocked, it would go through, thus leaving the character on his turn to hit me up, and I would be open. I could take damage. If this attack was unblocked, he would take 1 damage, and he would have 19 health. If it was blocked, let's say that he had another pawn on his side to defend it, much like any other TCG. It's a lane system, so he would choose his 1-1, push it up to block my 1-1. They would knock each other out, thus still leaving me open. However, we will address this later, but I will not block now. So what I would do is, my turn would end, I would pass it to my opponent, he would do the same on his team, and he would field some dice. Let's say he just fielded 1 sidekick. It's in the field zone. You really can't see that. Let's leave that right there, and it is my turn again. So it's my turn. I have 1 character in the field zone. I take my bag, I roll. You do not want to look in the bag. You take your die, you roll them, and let's see what we get. We do got a lot of energy. We do have a shield. Depending on how you would like to do it, typically the more characters that you do buy, say if you do buy a character, the character dice have double energy, so the more character dice that you do buy, potentially you can get, instead of 4, you can get like 6, you can get like 7 to purchase more dice. But what we will do is, that is a good roll. I would purchase the Namor for 4 with 1 shield, and I would keep that as a blocker. I would pass to my opponent. My opponent does the same thing. He purchases a Groot. Yeah, that's Groot, excuse me. He purchases a Groot. He fields Groot. Actually, does not field Groot because it's still my turn. He passes it back to me, and it is my turn. My bag is empty, so now what we would do is we would take all the generic dice and any dice that we would pull, and what we were doing is basically making our pool of dice better and better and better by purchasing different characters, different actions, by different synergies. And you randomize it, and potentially the 4 die that you would roll. See, we do have 1 character now. Fun stuff can happen. So that was our roll. We'll zoom back in. Now, awesome. We do have great. I will take my 2 pawns. I will field those for free. I would pay my 1 energy to field my Namor. And basically, I have 4 creatures, just like any. Actually, I'll zoom out a little bit. Any other TCG, we have 4 creatures. We have a 4/4, a 1/1, a 1/1. Basically, boom, full fleet. But hey, let's take a look at that Namor card. What does he do? He is a level 2. If Namor is the only character in your field at the end of any turn, let's zoom in real quick. There we go. If Namor is the only character in your field at the end of any turn, field up to 2 sidekick die from your used pile or prep area. Spin them to their character face. That's a super powerful action. So what that means, effectively, is if let's say he has 1 character to block, let's say he fielded a Groot as well. What I would do is I would attack, I would leave my Namor fielded, attack with all 3 characters, leaving Namor the only character in the field zone. This would resolve. This is a 1/1. This is a 1/1. We knock each other out. This is a 1/2 Groot. 1/1 creature. Groot falls back. I get knocked out. This die goes through unblocked. My opponent would take 1 damage. He goes from 20 to 19. And I still have Namor fielded. Now, what does this mean? If Namor is the only character in your field at the end of any turn, field up to 2 sidekick dice from your used pile to your prep area. So what I would do is, since he's the only character left, I would actually move him. Let's see. You may field at the end of turn, field up to 2 sidekick dice from your used pile at your prep area. So I would field these characters back to the used pile, put them back in the field, and they're creatures again. So that's just some really needless, unnecessary depth on the card. But with the cards you choose, some really cool text going on. So that's that. And these characters come back, and it is my opponent's turn. I got characters on the board. He goes, he rolls. Let's say he rolls a Rocket Raccoon. This character got knocked out, and he has another sidekick die. He chooses to keep those as blockers. It is my turn. Now I would take 4 more die. I have another character, and I have 3 generic sidekick dice. I put them in my dice bag area. However, since I do have 2 additional die in the prep area, anything that would get knocked out, creature die, get in the prep area, you sweep them down in your hand. Now we have 6 to roll. So risk reward, you might want to kind of sacrifice some creatures potentially, get them in the KO zone. You have more dice to roll, all kinds of stuff going on. So let's roll our 6 die. Bang, bang, bang. A lot of money to spend. Angel. What does Angel do? Let's take a look real quick. Angel. When Angel attacks, your sidekick get 1 attack, 1 defense, no matter how many Angel dice attack. So hey, that's a pretty powerful move. I might want to sacrifice that in order to... Let's get his face symbol up. So I would keep these 2. Use my additional roll and reroll setup. Hopefully... unfortunately, we did not get the face symbol. So we do have 4 money to spend. We still have 4 sidekick die. I would potentially buy Scarlet Witch. I would buy Scarlet Witch. What does Scarlet Witch do? Scarlet Witch. Zoom in. Boop, boop, boop. When Scarlet Witch is active, you may re-roll any of your die 1 additional time during the roll and re-roll step. This is a red bar. That's an ultra rare card. Super strong card. So what does that mean? That means if this card, the die was active, on my turn, I rolled. I kept that. I rolled again. I want to re-roll this again. I can because I have Scarlet Witch. She's active. I could re-roll an additional time. Super strong. Super good card. So what I would do is, this is how my previous turn ended. I would probably attack with all 4 again, probably keeping Namor back because he's the only character dying. As long as he is active, I would get 2 additional dice back. So block, block, block. That goes through. These fall back. They push back. He gets knocked out. 1 damage gets down. He's down at 18. Rinse and repeats. I just noticed you probably didn't catch any of that up there because that was not in the camera. At any rate, that's how you play. You go back and forth. You keep rolling. You keep getting neck each other down. First person to 0 loses. Great synergy going on. Just real quick, let's take a look at some other cards here. Professor X. While Professor X is active, your sidekicks get 1 attack, 1 defense. This is a great card to combo with Angel. You have Angel active. You attack with Angel with 5 sidekicks. Professor X is active. That means they get +2/2. You get Falcon active. What does Falcon do? Falcon. Whenever Falcon attacks, your sidekicks can't be blocked. Hey, we just buffed up our sidekicks +2/+2. They're now 3/3s with Falcon. As long as Falcon's attacking and Angel's attacking, that's potentially a 4 3/3s going through unblocked. Crazy synergy. Awesome stuff going on. We got Psylocke. Great card. For 2, I'm going to go over this all in some casual brew stuff in the future. Psylocke for 2 energy. When fielded, you may pay 2 face masks to knock out any character. So if you get a Psylocke die, let's say you got 2 of these, and this is your roll. The opponent has a Groot and a Rocket Raccoon active. You take your Psylocke die. You got 1 face mask. You have 1 random. I could field Psylocke. When Psylocke is fielded, you may pay 2 face masks to knock out 1 character. I would pay 1 face mask, and I would pay my random. That's the 2. I would knock out the bigger blocker. Groot's knocked out. I would attack with 2 dice. He has to choose. He chooses to block Psylocke. 4 damage goes through unblocked. I win the game. That's how you play Dice Masters. You go back and forth. All kinds of synergy. We'll be right back with the in conclusion, and thank you for tuning in. So, in conclusion, I have to say that Dice Masters truly is a fantastic experience. For me, one of my favorite games. Just the amount of content out there, as you can see, there's countless sets. I think they're up to like 15, 16, 17 individual sets from Marvel to DC to Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dungeons and Dragons. We have Capes and Cows. We have fantasy. Fun stuff out there. So you really can buy in cheap. I'd say $20 could get you going. You could probably pick up a starter kit. 2-player starter set has everything you need. 44 custom dice, 12 basic action dice, the sidekick dice, everything to get started. Maybe spend $10 on booster packs, $25. You have a great, fun, casual experience. You want to spend another $30 on booster packs. Really get that synergy going. I mean, wow, there's some really high-end play. Unfortunately, I don't know how much longer this game will be supported. Let's just throw it out there. This game has been out there for 3 or 4 years. Created by Mike Elliott and Eric Lang. Eric Lang has been brought on as lead director for CMON, Cool Mini or Not. So I don't know what his, how much more he has to do with the series. Obviously, not a lot. There are some good sets coming out from Batman, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The game is being supported, but if the game was stopped being supported right now, there's enough out there. I think I only bought into 6 or 7 of the 17 sets, and I truly feel like I have a great amount of stuff to play with. I'm super content. Great game, great dice. Dice Masters. I felt like I had to do the intro video because I want to do some more content creation. There's going to be some more custom brews. I'm going to show you some teams I put together, and stay tuned for the ride. Thank you guys, Young Corpse Television. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like. Maybe tell a friend. Maybe not. We'll get there. In the meantime, at Young Corpse TV on Twitter, YouTube. See you guys very soon.